Ladies and gentlemen, we'll start our brand launch conference in a couple of minutes. So all the guests outside, can I just get you guys to come in, settle down, and take your seats? Thank you. Dear guests, we are gonna start in about 5 minutes time. 5 minutes time. So everyone get your seats, make yourself feel comfortable. 5 minutes time. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? I know everyone's very eager and excited to network and communicate with each other, but our team just told me that we are going to start it now, so please keep your volumes low and we can kickstart the brand launch conference. Thank you for your kind collaboration. So today, I'm very excited to warmly welcome everyone here, our distinguished guests, partners, and everyone to our brand launch conference. This is our first ever brand launch conference hosted by the Coinstore team. I'm your host for today. My name is Clement On. And today, we've lined up for you some exciting keynotes, inspiring panelist discussions, and our business development team has flown all over the world, and we are all over the world to invite all these esteemed guest speakers right to our brand launch conference today. So can we give a round of applause for everyone who's here today? Thank you. So many people are thinking, why are we doing this right now? Why a brand launch? Have you guys seen the market? Everyone's being like so doom and gloom right now, right? But that's why we want to host this brand launch, because we really believe that it's through partnerships, friendships, and collaborations that we can reinvigorate this market together. At Coinstore, what we truly believe is to make more collaborations happen, to be the pioneering for the first launch for the initial launch, okay? So the first stop for initial launch, that's our team for today. And why we have this team is because what we try to do is, like I mentioned, bring all these esteemed partners around to give you guys the best platform and opportunity to collaborate, discuss new opportunities, and that is how we can bring up the crypto market together, hopefully. I hope there's always a team that goes around in the Coinstore's office. Just a personal story. They say that whatever I buy goes down. So, guys, please make sure I buy more crypto so that I sell more crypto so that the whole crypto market goes up. Okay? Before we start the first speaker of the day, I'll just like to take this special moment to thank all of our co-hosts and our sponsors. It's a bit long, but I will just take my time. So, Infinity Ventures Crypto, WeGG, Cardano Foundation, Crossspace, Algorand Foundation, Emergo Ventures, Conflux, Definity ICP, and our sponsors, BP Flag, Unix Gaming, Nordec, My Neighbor Alice, Chain Colosseum Phoenix, Mystic Games, Draw Shop Kingdom, Cryptopia, SiriusNet, Live for Well, and yeah, sounds like I just won an Oscar, and thank everyone. All jokes aside, can we please welcome our first speaker for today? His name is James To. If you guys didn't know, he's actually the first BD in Coinstore. So if you guys want to hear more stories about how Coinstore started, please look for him after his speech. And yeah, please welcome Mr. James To the stage, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming. Some story from Coinstore because I was the first employee in Singapore. Okay, so I'm going to start with just a little bit of history of our company. We were set up in June 2021. The founder is actually my banking customer. Okay, so I joined him. So during that time, the founder told me that we were in a bull market. But the bear market was coming, okay, at that time. By caution, he also told me not to worry because our vision is to build a solid and safe platform to survive through the bear market. We wanted to build a lasting platform and to carefully work our way to be a sustainable and safe exchange. And we will strive to be, we want to strive to be known as a hardworking and down-to-earth and also a patient company. And that's why we only announced our launch after 2 years of preparation, now 2023. So being a centralized exchange in this business, in this era, is not that easy. We have to balance growth and also careful compliance planning. And there's a lot of possible landmines around, which we need to work carefully. Our focus is to maintain a rock solid global exchange with sound reputation, to navigate through all applicable local and international law possible. But thanks to many good exchanges ahead of us, we have many blueprints to follow, which make it easier for us to learn from. One core value that we hold very close to our heart is to continue to make good partners, learn from talented Web3 friends in this space, and humbly doing our part in this industry by helping quality new projects to realize their potential through our own growth. Today, we kick off our official launch with good friends, partners, believers, and with the following program. I'll just read to you so that you have a brief idea. Okay, later after me, there will be my colleague Manfred. He will be giving some Coinstore brand introduction, and then we'll have keynote from Jay from Cardano. We'll have a round table talking about Web3 gaming, okay, hosted by Christina. And we also have another keynote by Mr. Ricardo, okay, from my neighbor Alice. And then we have one more roundtable hosted by Mr. Nenter from Animoca Ventures about how the integration of AI with blockchain and topics surrounding that. And we'll end off with a keynote by Professor Liu Yang. He's an NTU professor, full professor specializing in cybersecurity, software engineering, and also AI. We are also going to sign an MOU with them because he's the founder of Meta Trust Labs. And then we'll end it off. Okay, you'll be very tight. Thank you for actually your time here. Okay, but we want to present our partners' involvement with you. So last but not least, I would like to thank our sponsor, co-host, partners for your participation. Thank you for believing in us and participating in our early growth. We will continue to make contribution by doing our part in identifying quality blockchain projects that has the ability to improve lives and value add to mankind, society. Cheers to our long-lived partnerships to build the space now and in time to come. Also, for those that will be coming for Token 2049, we have 2 booths at level 4 and level 5. Both are actually custom-made. The level 4 one is very big. We spend quite a lot of money on them. So hopefully you can come and visit us. Lastly, we're also hosting a big GameFi night with all our GameFi partners and invitees at 7 p.m. tomorrow. It's just 5 minutes. I think it's 10-minute walk from MBS, so you won't be caught in the jam. You can save your money on cab as well. So if you wish to register your interest and you haven't did that, please speak to our BDs later to register. I look forward to network with all of you over this intense happening week. Thank you.
Nice. Thank you, James, for the opening speech. I'd just like to touch on a few things that James mentioned. First and most importantly is that we spend a lot of money so that we didn't have budget and I have to be the MC for today. All jokes aside, as he mentioned, I think we share a commitment to bring the best partners, the best co-hosts to mingle around with all our partners, and this way we really believe that we can really make sure that everyone progress. And one thing that he also mentioned is about to make life better for mankind. I really like that. So hopefully in the crypto space, we are able to do that in the years to come. And maybe from there, we can see better projects coming out. We can see projects that are able to help mankind more. Okay, so our first speaker for today, someone that I hold close to my heart, is actually the Associate Director of Business Development from Coinstore. So just a short story a little bit about him. This person is one of the pioneers in the business development team in Coinstore as well. I remember when I just joined Coinstore not too long ago, probably about maybe close to 2 years ago, this person single-handedly inspired me to believe that Coinstore can make it. So without further ado, can I just invite Mr. Manfred Chew on stage, please?
You all can hear me, right? Can? Yes? No? Can? Okay, awesome. I think Clement is just being too nice, too kind. Thank you for such lovely introduction. Sorry, I got a clicker. Okay, I think for this brand launch, right, I think I'm the first person to ever give this keynote for Coinstore. So thank you so much, Coinstore. I think it's supposed to be James one, but I think he gave me this opportunity. Okay, let's start. Coinstore, we actually established in like 2 years ago, in Jan. Sorry. But so why do we call ourselves? Sorry. Yeah. The first choice for initial launch. Lagging. I press AD. Okay? No, I want to go back the last slide. Yeah, but I want to go back. Can I? Okay. So I control, okay? Thank you. So the first choice for the initial launch. This is our motto. This is what we firmly believe in, right? As a world-leading digital asset, right, we are actually the centralized platform itself, right? We focus a lot on emerging growth market. Why do we actually focus a lot on emerging growth market? The reason why we have clearly identified, right, this market we actually bring forth the growth in the crypto space. How many of you guys actually agree with me on that? We see a lot of the shift of adoption rate. We are seeing a lot of high adoption rate in the Southeast Asia region. So we are actually focusing a lot of this kind of high growth countries we have like top tiers, professionals, crypto players in our company itself. We have cryptos, developers from tier 1 exchanges that actually join us to develop the platform, to make sure the platform is actually more secure and for more user base, more user friendly. With 200 international staff and serving we have 13 centers worldwide. We are committed not just for like in Singapore or Dubai and stuff, right? We have centers in Indonesia, in the Southeast Asia region, Malaysia, Philippines, Vietnam, and the UAE. So our positioning is to be more of serving the local markets, having the locals, interacting with the locals project to give them the international exposure. Okay, global compliance. We are actually moving towards that direction. So, as a digital service platform, right, we offer extensive range of cryptocurrencies to our user, right? And providing security. Our short-term goal is to actually establish a leading global exchange specializing in emerging, in high growth market, which I just mentioned just now. By end of 2025, right, we are actually targeting to have at least 10 million users in Coinstore. Right now, we are at 3.7 million users. So in a mere short span of 2 more years, our target and our goal is to reach 10 million. Right? And so let's work it back. In a short span of 2 years, we started our exchange, and to right now, right here, we are actually at 3.7 million. So we will be actually growing more and more in terms of our services, our brand, our marketing, and then we will achieve a 10 million user base. We are seeing this trajectory up of the user. That's why we're targeting the high growth country to actually ensure that we reach the 10 million user. Okay, our mission is to actually establish ourselves as a world-class digital asset exchange, right? And a commitment for global compliance and offer a diverse range of digital asset financial services to our global community user. That's why we are actually the first stop or the first choice for initial launch. So users come aboard with us, identifying that we are the one that we could identify the next projects. And developers come to us because we are the platform of choice for their launch. And how do we do it? There are a few methods that we will be actually touch on. Number one, what's our value? Our value, afterwards, we are, like I think James, even Clement last time, we all mentioned that integrity, transparency, and and refrain from market manipulation. All these are the key pain points that we have identified, right? That a lot of projects, a lot of users are afraid of. most of the time, right, it's more of transparency. Is our exchange transparent enough? Are we accountable for our funds, right? Are we secure enough, right? Is there like insider trading, manipulation in the market and everything, right? Right here, right now, yeah, we are against those kind of things and we are transparent. I mean, we will want to be as transparent as possible, but certain kind of information are definitely confidential, right? Secondly, value. Importance in our user value, which means accountability again, and the security of our investors' fund, and how tight and how secure is our exchange. Did this just change the slide? So, in short, right, guys, as an exchange for us to launch it at Token 2049, right here, right now, spending all this time of brand launch for me to be here on the stage to tell you guys that we are here for the long term. We are here to commit to every one of our users, to every one of our developers, right? Our mission, our belief, our value, right? And it's not just the next 1 year, 2 years, not just short-term goals. We're here for long term, right? Why after 2 years we only launch the brand now? Because we want to make sure that we are ready. If we're not here today, gone tomorrow. We are here for the long term. That's why working with partners, working with developers, strategic partners, will actually allow us to grow longer together. Collectively, we could get further. Okay, one-stop solution for our crypto trading. Spot trading, futures trading, NFT marketplace, derivative, staking. All these are very the standard thing, right? But one thing we really need to, that I really want to overemphasize, right, is our IO Launchpad. Down the slide, I actually will touch on the results that we actually accomplished so far, right? But in the short span of 2 years, our focus right now is to actually ensure that, we are the right place for the right projects, for the right launch. This is our global expansion through. So yeah. Okay. So as of now, we got about 3.67 million. Let me just round the number, 3.7. But to be exact, 3.67 million app registration. Our DAU the highest was, I think, May this year. It's at 110,000. Our weekly monthly visits are about 1.4 million. Guys, if you look at this number, yes, it's still relatively in the lower range, but taking into consideration we are just merely 2 years old. But let's look at what's ahead. This I'm just telling you is what we have achieved. But moving ahead, we are very confident that this number will just propel. It will not just slowly increase, but I think it's a rapid increase. It's a ripple effect. As you see, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Bangladesh, Vietnam, India, Philippines, all these are the countries that I keep mentioning over and over again, because we believe that all these are the high growth market that a lot of potential. Yeah, not forgetting Nigeria. Our social media itself. I think previously it was Twitter. Every time I keep using Twitter. I think now it's X. X is like 107, and Telegram is 88,000. All these are numbers that, we are still growing. 120 community worldwide. We have Teamster and CS League. I will go more into details what are Teamsters and CS League. Okay, I think this is my most exciting slides. So in IO Launchpad, right, we actually have 2 different kinds of launch. We have Prime and we have Startup. For Prime itself, is more exclusive, more premium itself. We will have a very strict creation of requirements of Prime project. So they have to pass through our DD, our security, our backend teams, right, our developers themselves, and our due diligence team to actually ensure that they pass the criteria. As you can see, the growth rate itself, 921, average first growth 2,000%, everything. All these are very big numbers, right? How do we achieve it? Because we actually have the backend data, understanding our buyers' behavior pattern and stuff, ensuring that we position the project right place at the right time to ensure the right result. Right? It comprises a lot of kind of things. how do we want to fully unlock the potential of a project? That is the question. I mean, that's always the golden question, right? How could we position the project right? So these are prime. Right? This is just one of our launchpad. Right? We have the other one. Yeah. Second, I think this one I want to boast about it also. Okay, in the very launch, right, in our launch, right, in the very first few hours, right, we can actually fundraise quite a big sum of money. The reason why we can do it is because the consistent trust of our user, of our due diligence, our backend security, and of our curation of projects to be on our launchpad. Right. For example, let me just give you Damex. We have total fundraise 108,000 for them. Right, committed amount. And all these are the different kind of, the M ship is like 50,000 itself. At this present market itself, we still can accomplish such numbers. It's for a 2 years old exchange, for a growing exchange, we are actually growing quite rapid. So IEO itself, right, that's why we have positioned ourselves as the first choice for initial launch. Earn. Okay. Earn is basically our staking platform in-house, where we give high attractive yields to user. Web3. This is one of our latest development itself, Web3 wallet integrated in our CX, our exchange itself. So it can link to our on-chain asset, NFT wallet, and our NFT discover page, right? I think one of our saying, right, is like a TikTok. Like it's like scrolling through TikTok, where you can view different kind of Web3 projects in the discovery page itself. Right? It's like users, if you get bored, you can like scroll through, understand more about our Web3. Futures contract. Those are, for traders, right? Security is one thing, right? It's just how fast your trade are being executed. It's the next thing, right? Ours is down to the millisecond. We'll try to accomplish the millisecond trading. Our depth, our volume itself. So all these are the commitment itself. That's not on spot, but on futures itself also. Approach, native marketing. So if we break it down to marketing itself, right, Coinstore, what we believe in is online and offline. Offline is like whatever we are doing now, we are getting all the crypto like-minded people, we are actually sharing more different kind of technologies and stuff. Native marketing, what we have uniquely that we can actually showcase. Our PR, something that everyone knows. I believe we have a lot of media partners here, right? PRs, we believe that content is important. Whatever PR we actually showcase to the world is very important. So the narrative of the PR is also very important. So this, in this aspect, right, is very important for us to find out what's the right narrative for a project. Everyone will just come to us that we are the best, right? We are the best. But how do we find the right narrative, and why, and what's the right, the sweet spot for each individual community? It could vary. So for us to identify what is important together, and how do we work hand in hand to actually accomplish that? So these are some of our Coinstore media photos. We actually being showcased by CNN, YouTube Finance, Cointelegraph, and the Economic Times. I mean, these are like just a handful. I mean, like we do have a lot more. Secondly, also we believe in partnership. I mean, like, we cannot overemphasize partnership. But in what kind of level of partnership? We actually established this MOU signing with Kadin Bandung, the commerce of Indonesia, and the Philippines itself. Why do we actually believe in, like, why would we angle ourselves or work towards the direction of partnership with regulators or understanding the local market itself, right? Because moving forward, we believe that with this kind of strong endorsement for regulators, understanding the local crypto climate and the regulations of each country will give us the better positioning Because for us, right, we have to position ourselves in the right way with the regulators to ensure that things are moving smoothly. Accountability, as I mentioned earlier, accountability, transparency. All these are something that we will strive to achieve. And these two countries are not just, we will not stop at just these two. We are actually working with more and more local regulators to actually understand the local crypto climate. So yeah, I think the clicker is a bit laggy. KOL amplified, yeah, let's touch on this. We have this own in-house thing, quite unique. Teamster and CS League. This is where we curate our own KOLs. We have this own input, in-house KOLs, and Teamster. Whenever we have campaigns, right, they will blast it out. They are our dedicated KOLs. Let's say, for example, if I have this IO, upcoming IO, which I will really need a massive outreach. We have our own in-house Teamster. They will do a video. They'll shoot to their committee also. So uniquely, instead of us reaching out to other kind, we already have this ready pool of KOL at our disposal. For campaigns also, we'll be actually using them. So not just on YouTube, but also on like Telegram, all the different socials that they also will be posting. For campaigns also. So then we talk about offline. So those are the online marketing. Offline itself, right, we have number one, World Tour, CS Connect, Crypt Talk, CS Conference, and live stream. World Tour are like Token 2049, which is happening tomorrow. Right? Conferences are like that. And we have two in-house things quite unique. It's called CS Connect and Crypt Talk. CS Connect is like, let me just go through. Renown Expo. Okay. Crypto 306 Dubai. Coinfest Bali 2023, which happened, I think, last month. And Consensus Texas. So these are the Renown Expo that we have identified, right? That we have to be in. As much as possible, we will try to be in every expo. Because we have resources all over the world, across 200 or in different continents, right? So if we have Bali in Bali, right? Look, half of the people in the photo there, right? They are like Indonesians, right? And Dubai, we have teams in Dubai also, right? So we can be everywhere, anywhere at any given time. Let's say if you tell me, hey Manfred, I want to meet someone from Coinstore in Thailand tomorrow. Sure, I can make the meeting happen for you. With one Coinstore representative, business development will come down and meet you face to face to have a chat about it. So our network is everywhere. CS Connect is a bit more unique. Okay. CS Connect, right? I would deem it as a meetup, a like-minded people meetup. Meaning, say, if I have in Jakarta, right? So I want to engage the local community, local projects, the local KOLs itself, right? I want to let them bring everyone together in the same place to share about one particular very interesting upcoming information or development, right? So I bring them all the KOLs together. Then in this setting itself, right, I could have a project party that comes up and give a light sharing about their token, their technology, their project. Why is this important? Because we firmly believe, right, there are three kinds of, like seeing, feeling, like seeing, touching, and hearing. These are the three kinds of senses which are very important. This instills confidence in everyone. Not just simply online, Telegram, AMA, everything. It's multi-pronged. Like we need different kind of marketing strategy together, right, to ensure that we achieve success. St. Petersburg, Singapore. So CS Connect is a relatively smaller scale project meeting, right? They are about 20, 30 packs, right? CS conference this time is about 300 packs. Yeah, cute, right? Our logo. Crypt Talk itself, right, is very interesting. How we angle Crypt Talk. As you can read, right, educational offline events. Why do we deem it as educational offline events? Because, right, we have live streams. So meaning, say, we have stage like that, we have like projectors like that. These are live streams that we could have live streams. So our project party from the US could give a talk to the local market in Jakarta. Right. So this, with technology help, right, we could transcend time and location. I can be anywhere, everywhere also. right? Right now, this is being streamed live also. So online, those people are watching, hi guys, right? And the importance of this, right, guys, is because collectively, iron sharpen iron. Collectively, we could engage multiple offline or different countries together. Because we always believe, right, it's just not me, myself, and I, but it's how can we work together, how can we walk together, how can we go through this journey together. So as you see, it's getting bigger and bigger, guys. The community is getting bigger and bigger. As what we see now, the room full, but the truth of the matter is, if you go to multiple different countries, right, you are seeing more and more different kind of faces, right? And I've been there most of our crypto offline event, and I'm just saying that the size is growing. The first crypto we actually had, right? We had about, I think, 50 to 60 people. The very last crypto we had, right? The room was full. Opportunity of like having the offline settings. We also want to fully milk the event. Like, hey, let's not waste our time, right? Let's be everywhere. I want to reach out to 150 audience offline, but I don't want my reach to stop there. So the question is, how can I reach out to 10,000? How can I reach out to 20,000? How can I reach out to the people at home? We want to cover it all. We want to ensure that you are covered. We want to ensure that the coverage is sufficient, that you are everywhere. Not just that. After live streaming, we will actually be uploading it to our YouTube channel for you to continue. Because we believe marketing is just not overnight, right? How we instill confidence, right, is for people to see you over and over and over and over again, see you everywhere, anywhere. This will give a lot of confidence to users or to your communities. They are quite cool, like AMA, Market Insider, and us showing my project. Showing my project, I personally love it, because I'm the host, right, the moderator, right? Sometimes I'll ask the project, so what makes you so different from the other project? Then everyone will just give their side of the story, right? But personally, my 2 cents is the one of the nicest rebuttal, right, or like the nicest conviction I have, right, from project owner, right, is that there is not I'm better than the other project. It's how can we all work together to change something. Because we have identified a pain point, right? And for us to innovate something, to come up with technology, something is to solve an issue. It's not how am I better. It's how can we solve the issue. Right? So with that, I think I end this is actually our official handles. Through this scan, enjoy our handles. If you want my handle, you can find me later. Okay. With that, I would like to thank your time. I mean, this is my very first time giving this keynote. I think I did a fairly bad job, but and thank you so much for your time, and I hope to catch up with you guys later. Thank you.
Thank you, Manfred, for the exciting speech to introduce Coinstore's product and services. So I see like a couple of guests are feeling a bit restless. You guys are moving around, going to the toilet, come back. Hey, just joking. But yeah, to keep things slightly interesting for everyone, I just wanted to remind you guys to maybe take out your phones, take some pictures of this brand launch conference. And I mean, look at all our partners. Everyone will just basically continuously share, retweet, like for you. Not only that, we have so many people in our business development team. I'm sure 100 people sharing will get more traction. So take more photos outside and basically post it on your LinkedIn, your Twitter, or your social media channels. Okay? So next up, our speaker is... Wait, where's our speaker? Next up, our speaker is Mr. J. So when he walked in today in right about maybe 1 p.m., I was thinking, who is this suave and cool guy? He's probably the most handsome guy today in this brand launch conference, apart from me, obviously, but I'm just joking. So please give it a warm round of applause from Mr. J from Cardano.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, so many beautiful people. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. So my name is Jide Fashola. I'm from Lagos, Nigeria originally, and I've been in Dublin for 15 years. So why are we here? We're here to celebrate the brand launch for Coinstore. And I would also like to introduce Cardano. I'm sure a lot of you probably don't know much about Cardano and how it works, how it was birthed, and so on and so forth. So it's not working, guys. All right. That's gone past what I wanted to. Hold on. We try again. Not so great, huh? Guys, I'm getting nervous now. How do we fix this? 5 seconds. Okay, okay. Actually, I'll just talk. So the idea of Cardano started when our co-founder, Charles Hoskinson, he realized that there are a bunch of issues with the blockchain space. And the three issues that he realized were the problems were sustainability, security, and interoperability. So in order to fix those issues, we came up with a roadmap, right? The Cardano roadmap. And the Cardano roadmap spans across 5 different pillars, or 6 different pillars. So the initial pillar is the Byron phase. So the Byron phase is basically the inception of Cardano blockchain. So the Byron phase was when IOHK came together in 2015. They decided to create this product. In 2017, after different GitHub commits and so on and so forth, Byron was launched. So the Byron phase is the initiation of the Cardano blockchain. And it introduced the idea of being able to buy and sell ADA, right? And then from then, we moved to the second phase, which is the Shelley era. And the Shelley era basically introduced the idea of decentralization and also introduced the idea of incentive mechanisms for decentralization. And what decentralization basically means is to give the community the ability to run stake pools so they can mint blocks on the Cardano network. Because the initial phase, which was the Byron era, those blocks were minted by IOHK, which is one entity. So from the Shelley era, we moved to the Goguen era. And the Goguen era introduced the likes of smart contracts and a multi-ledger blockchain. So smart contract allows you to basically create more sophisticated NFTs and fungible tokens on Cardano blockchain. And the multi-asset ledger allows you to create multi-assets on Cardano. So not just ADA, you can create other native assets on Cardano. Unlike Ethereum and other blockchains where you require a smart contract to create an NFT or a native asset. On Cardano, you don't require a smart contract to create another asset on the blockchain. And so from then on, we moved on to the third phase, which introduced interoperability and scalability on the network. So interoperability basically means allows the Cardano blockchain to interact with traditional banking systems and also to interact with other blockchains like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on and so forth. So what we are doing to actually introduce this interoperability is we recently launched a crypto primitive called SECP256K1. And what that allows us to do is to understand the private and public keys that are created on other blockchains. So Cardano blockchain is able to understand and interact with these other public and private keys. That's one aspect. Another aspect is we created sidechains such as Hydra, which allows you to create a different model or different business model on the side on a blockchain and pass it over to the Cardano blockchain. And then the third thing is bridges, right? A bridge is something that allows you to move an asset from one blockchain onto another blockchain. And one of the bridges that we've introduced recently is the one-chain bridge that allows you to wrap assets from Ethereum, for example, like a stable coin, and move it over to the Cardano blockchain. So that's where we were as of February this year. We did a Valentine hard fork to help us facilitate this interoperability phase. So now where we are is we're in the final phase of the Cardano blockchain, which is the Voltaire era. And the Voltaire era is giving back to the community and getting them to actually vote on the future advancements of Cardano blockchain. And what that really means is that today we have a process called the CIP, Cardano Improvement Proposals. And what that really means is that anyone that has an idea of how to advance the Cardano blockchain is able to create this proposal, get it approved by the community, and start integrating new technology on the Cardano blockchain. So right now we are working on trying to get, there's a company called Intersect that is looking into creating a member-based organization that will facilitate the process of actually getting this Voltaire era across the line. So, where's the next one? Okay. Cardano is governed by three bodies. It's governed by Cardano Foundation, Emergo, and IOHK. IOHK are the guys that basically developed the blockchain. Cardano Foundation, we are looking into three things. We focus on operational resilience, adoption, and education. And those three things span across. So operational resilience is, for example, hard forks. So when there's a hard fork that's happening, who's going to look after it? Who's going to ensure the exchanges are upgraded? Who's going to ensure that all the other systems are upgraded when the hard fork is done? We look after that process. The second phase, which is education, is we need to ensure that the community is aware of how Cardano blockchain works and how blockchain works as a whole. So we are also responsible for basically educating the community. And the third phase is adoption. So how can we get people to actually start using Cardano blockchain and blockchain as a whole? We are also responsible for that part. So Emergo, lastly, is responsible for enterprise adoption and sponsorships, like VC sponsorships and so on and so forth. So yeah, those are the three bodies that govern Cardano, and that's how we work together in order to ensure that Cardano is an optimal solution for enterprise adoption. And the last thing I would like to talk about is the Cardano Summit. So the Cardano Summit is going to be hosted in Dubai this year from the 2nd to the 4th of November. We are going to have over at least maybe 50 different companies there from 50 different sectors. We have over 30,000 or 3,000 attendees as well that will come down. So it would be a pleasure to have Coinstore and everyone here to attend the Cardano Summit if you can. And yeah, so that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. J. Definitely soon us over with your good looks at this brand launch conference. Be excited to participate in Cardano Summit in Dubai and see what interesting developments from Cardano Foundation will be there. So thank you so much for gracing your presence at this brand launch conference. Can everyone please give him a round of applause, please? So before we go to the next section, can I just get everyone to just lower your voices? I know you guys are a bit excited to network, but yeah, the speakers will really appreciate if we could give them our fuller support and attention. So without further ado, our next lineup is a panelist discussion. Panelist discussion for gaming. So before we start, maybe our lovely guys from the hotel can set up the stage, please. Okay, so without further ado, this is a gaming panel, and maybe I'll just share a little bit story. The panelists here, all of them actually came to Coinstore's office at one point of time. Whether online or offline, I'll let you guys figure that out. But actually, we had Irene came to the office. We had Nick discuss with our BD guys, Tina, Daniel, as well as Christina. So actually, a lot of us met them through a lot of these conferences that we've been visiting. But I'll just shortly introduce them a little bit. Christina Macedo, who's a board member of Blockchain Gaming Alliance. She's also the co-founder of ReadyGG. Can I invite you to the stage, please? We also have Irene Umar from WeGG, Chief Executive Officer. We have Nick Tew, Chief Operating Officer from Unix Gaming. Tina from Arc8, Head of Partnerships. And also Daniel Un from Algorand Foundation. Thank you.
All right, I think I'm supposed to kick it off. So maybe to kick it off, what we can do is just kind of introduce ourselves just about exactly what we have built. And then I'd love for you guys to actually share what your favorite game is. So kick it off to you first. Erin.
Wow, that's a difficult question. Favorite games? Okay, I'll start by introducing myself. Hi everyone, my name is Irene Umar. I'm the CEO and co-founder of WeGG. We were originally called as YGG Southeast Asia, so naturally we are a sub-DAO of YGG, which is a Yale Guild Games for Southeast Asia. We recently rebranded in June, July. And with WeGG, the reason for that is so we don't have to I spent the last 1 year explaining to people the difference between YGG and YGGC. So hopefully with WeGG, we no longer have to explain that. And the WeGG, the W3 itself, if you notice, W3 represents Web3, but it also represents togetherness or oneness, which is what we would like to create through blockchain. It's a world without border, and I believe that we can achieve that through the communities that we have. Now, when it comes to playing games, that's a very difficult question you gave me because I like playing games, but mostly casual games, and because I'm worried that I'll be addicted to it. Right now, there are a couple of games that I'm playing, although I call it as research. I can't name one, man. I can't name one from Web3, but what I'll say is that Pokemon Go is always the one that I have to go to. Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm Nick from Unix Gaming, COO, and we've created a platform that's coming out soon, a soft launch towards the back end of September, and it's a game Web3 gaming ecosystem discovery platform. It's a handful of words in your mouth, but basically it's not just a place where you can find Web3 games. It's a place where you can find everything that has to do with Web3, whether they're influencers, associations, infrastructure players. It could be tournament platforms, it could be anything. And you'll be able to find it there on our platform. So we started off back in 2021, just a quick recap, as a guild. Now we've pivoted to more of an ecosystem partner. And we're very excited to launch this platform very soon. So in response to your gaming question, Web3 games...
Doesn't have to be Web3. Just favorite game, what got you into gaming, what inspires you?
I'm a Final Fantasy guy. I don't know if you could tell, but yeah, the typical, right? But Final Fantasy VII was where I started everything. So hopefully there's a point of reference for someone. Thank you all.
Off to you.
Hey everyone, I'm Tina. I work as a head of partnerships at Gamey. Arcade is our casual gaming, blockchain gaming platform. So you love the casual games, you can check it out. Gamey is also the subsidiary of Animoca Brands. And my favorite game, I love console games, to be honest. I would say It Takes Two is my favorite game, Unravel. And from blockchain gaming, obviously, besides our games, I really like Boomland's new game. And I'm excited for some of the new projects which is coming out there. Life Beyond, for example, it's going to be AAA project by Animoca Brands, so I'm really excited.
Awesome. Off to you, Daniel.
Hey, hi everyone. I'm Daniel from the Algorithm Foundation. So very quickly, my favorite game, I would have to say I have two very favorite Web 2 games. One is like Dead by Daylight by Behavior, and then I like to play Rainbow Six Siege by Ubisoft. So those are my two games. As for Web 3 games are concerned, I would say like the highlight of my Web 3 gaming hobby, I would say, is like Crypto Blades. That was really crazy, I think 1.5 years ago. And then My Neighbor Alice, also around 1 year ago. And then right now it's like Altiverse. So Altiverse is like a suite of different games, and I really love their community.
Awesome. And I'll kick it off. So I'm also I'm a new board member of the Blockchain Games Alliance. The Blockchain Games Alliance is really about bringing positivity and visibility around Web3. And we know that through gaming, we'll probably have the most mass adoption to Web3. So happy to be part of the new board. And then my day job is I'm co-founder of ReadyGG. We've essentially built a full-fledged layer 3 to bring games on chain, from back-end infrastructure to user acquisition to DevOps to NFT management, marketplace to non-custodial wallets, essentially giving all the tools to bring as many games into Web3. And my favorite game. So I'll say on the Web 2 side, it's actually Donkey Kong from N64. That is where I kicked it off, where I found the love of gaming, the collaboration, and just like being together, playing with my brothers, essentially. And in Web 3, I'm obsessed with My Neighbor Alice. So that's essentially my favorite game. And then there's obviously a lot of cool stuff coming out of our developers from ReadyGG, bringing a lot of hybrid casuals, RPG games, and so on into Web3. So it's pretty exciting. So I'll kick off the first question. Just going to open them up. But essentially, so GameFi allowed the world to be introduced to Web3 gaming. The first games definitely has some positive, but also some negatives. In your opinion, what is the most crucial aspect of GameFi, positive and negative, we should consider as we build to encourage mass adoption into Web3? So who wants to kick it off?
I'll kick it
There
off,
you go.
but I'll share some positive things. I think all of us, when we started this journey, at least for myself, I was the one that the parents said, hey, stop playing games, focus on your school, etc. And we've heard this narrative, this story all the time, right? But it's very true. And it's one at least coming from Asian families that happens to us all the time. So now this is kind of like our slap in the face to them, going, hey, look what's happening. That's one. That's a positive side. The negative thing, if I'm being completely honest and if I can be blunt with this, is we approach this industry maybe in the wrong way from such a financial aspect, like such a hardcore focus on the financial aspect and not what really gaming was. And where, it's great to play and earn and everything else, but I think everyone that started back in 2021 and came into this space kind of realized that, if we could go back and do it again, would we have done it the same? Maybe too deep for a first response, right? Sorry, guys.
No, I think you're bringing up a really good aspect, which is the threshold, right? Threshold of entering in something that's very new, but at the same time familiar. But when something's super familiar and the threshold is hard to get into, I think that's where players are like, whoa, I know what gaming is and I know I like it, but I don't understand how to actually be a part of it. So just wondering, like, from that, what do you guys sort of like think about just the threshold part?
I can take that, I think. So from the threshold part, you touch upon when, at the peak of bull, right? When it first started, a lot of people come in, but there are two sets of group of people. People who genuinely like games and would like to play it and then like, oh, I can earn something. With the threshold, it forces them to learn about wallets and to adopt crypto adoption. So that's the positive side. The second group of people that was attracted to this is transactional in nature, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. However, that's damaging for the games because for a game development, we have to understand game development is not something that we can simply outsource completely without really understanding the mechanics of the games or the nature of the games. It's not as simple as that, right? Otherwise, everyone can create a games, and to build a games that takes time. To expect that a games that launch then immediately it could be shipped out within a few months. That's something that's impossible. And then you throw in a play to earn elements, and you come up with alpha launch that's have hundreds of thousands of dollars to attract users to come in. That might not attract the user base that we want and might not promote a healthy gaming behavior that we would like to have a healthy industry. So that's, I feel, was on the negative side. So yes, echoing what you said earlier, if we could restart it in a different manner, I think I would really don't have a differentiating factors between Web 2 and Web 3 games, because I see that this is the same thing as when free-to-play first started. Right? When free-to-play first started, everyone in the gaming industry was like, oh, what is that? But it's a natural part of humans, right? If there's changes, people are against it, you see? But right now, do people still say, hey, that is a free-to-play games? No, people just say that's a game. In the future, what's going to happen? And it's going to come very soon. Blockchain gaming, GameFi is not going to be referred as blockchain gaming and GameFi. It's going to be referred to as games. It has to go back to its nature of what it serves best. It's for people to have fun. And the advent of bringing financial elements into it, this is something for me, as Asian kid, is something that's extremely big, because for the first time ever, people could actually literally combine passion and profit and purpose into their life. They could play their games, they could earn money, and you know what will happen? It'll create a very happy society if these two could be balanced. So I feel that's the purpose of GameFi for me.
For sure. And Tina, you have something you want to say?
Really good points. I just would like to zoom out a little bit and say that GameFi is still really at the early stages of its phase. It's been less than 10 years since Web3 gaming has been introduced, and I wouldn't say directly like negative or positive, but there is still a lot to be done and a lot has to be evolved. But I would say that GameFi brought the sense of ownership for the players, which has not been there before. And I think it's a huge factor of, let's say, onboarding Web2 gamers into Web3 and introducing them of what the true ownership is, that they have absolute freedom to trade their, let's say, assets or evolve their assets, which is an amazing upside of the GameFi. But I also agree that hopefully very soon, like, we don't need to like specify as like Web3 gaming, but just say games and have like different genres as the games do usually. That would be the ideal phase that we should be at. And on the, let's say, like negative side of the Web3 gaming, sadly there has been like fairly, sometimes unfairly, backlash on some of the NFT project, which has impacted the Web3 gaming as well, because some of the people who don't have so much access to the information, they would be like assuming directly that, okay, because there is NFT connection with the gaming, oh, it cannot be good or something, which absolutely is not true, right? It's just a technology that we are allowing players to have the decentralized transactions, have ownership, and basically get rewarded as well while they're having fun. So, sorry. So I would say that there is a little bit lack of information sometimes. I just want to bring up the very recent use case. Maybe you're familiar with the eFuse. So they have announced Creators League, right? It was supposed to be like a gaming league where they have a huge prize pool and they're rewarding users, but they didn't communicate directly that there will be NFT technology used while they were selling tickets. So very, very sadly, it turned out to be, let's say, not the best case and not the best communication, as the project is on hold now, which is really sad. So I just hope that we get to the point that we don't need to give a specific classification, but there is access of the information and education of what GameFi can truly bring.
Great. And Daniel, you had something you want to say?
Yeah, I have something that I wanted to add really very quickly. So I recall having this conversation with literally the person that taught me DeFi, like I think 1.5 years ago or 2 years ago. And it was about the game that was Axie Infinity. And that was the one that really created like this whole vertical, as we call it today, right? Like I had this conversation with him, and it's like he showed me this 10-page slide. It was about how the economy of Axie Infinity was going to be sustainable forever. And this was the guy that taught me DeFi, you know, the CS grad that taught me DeFi. So I was like, okay, I read through it. Now, like there's some components that the economy was not going to hold up because I came from I'm an economics major. I told him that it's not going to hold up, but the one thing that really stood out to me was that he really believed that this was going to be the next big thing, because the number of users that blockchain gaming will bring in, or gaming in general will bring in, as well as the amount of integration, the amount of development resources required to really push this whole vertical forward, right, is going to make this vertical way larger than DeFi or NFTs by themselves, actually. So that really, really stood out to me, and it really left a very big, deep impression. Then, you know, we had like play to earn at that point of time, and then play and earn. And now we have a lot of different models, but a lot of these models are focused on like communities, very, very focused on communities. And I think the retention of a lot of these gaming communities, even today, right, in the bear market itself, is very, very high. So for example, right, if you were to join any gaming dApps, their spaces, you know, their engagements in general, you would on average see at least 50 to 80 Discord members show up on any kind of like gaming night or whatever, and that's a lot. It shows the testament to how gaming is a very unified language when we come into just talking about even just technology in general, Web 2 stuff in general. And I think that makes me very, very confident in this aspect. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a great segue to the next question. We're finally seeing a ton of new game genres coming into Web3 gaming space. What genre are you most excited about? So obviously, you know, it's kind of started with play to earn. It's sort of migrated over time. I think as we see so many Web 2 developers really starting to build in the space and bringing, you know, some of their game genres that they've essentially built into Web 3 and optimizing from that, I'm just curious, sort of, what are you very excited about, and what are you seeing that sort of giving you some inspiration that, you know, there is going to be more mass adoption because it's, again, more familiar to the regular player?
I'll start that off by saying that when I first started being in VGG, I'm from a gaming background. So I first started as being a trader, right? When I jumped into Web3, a lot of my friends from the gaming side was saying that, what are you doing? You have turned into these traders of going to the dark side. We're not going to befriend you anymore. And it was pretty sad. So I spent 1 year to sort of, you know, talk to them about what I feel about blockchain gaming. And the beautiful thing is that, and what excites me most about Web 2 developers that will bring in all the genre of games is, in the past, since September last year, Game Developers Association have started to open doors for Web3 games. And Web 2 developers, the real game developers, have started to look into this space and develop the games silently learning, because some of them are really worried that if they are not silently doing it, they would also be publicly friend a traitor and like, I'm not going to talk to you no more, right? And I'm sure that, you know, you're nodding your head off over there. I'm sure you experience the same thing. So, and now they are starting to call me up and we start to be friends again and start to have conversations. And that's the beautiful part. And that's what I'm excited about. So it will bring a lot of genres. Now that's on the indie side, right? Now on the big game publishers, we are also speaking to big game publishers from Japan, from Korea. Traditional names, I'm not going to mention names, but I'm sure every one of us have played their games, and they are also in Web3. And they are building games as we speak, and we will be seeing a lot of launches next year. And that's what I'm excited about. Yeah, so there'll be a lot more games to play.
Oh, yes.
Genres that are coming out. Look, even though I like the whole RPG space, I also love MOBAs, so the Dota, the League, and I'm talking Warcraft 3 for you really old gamers out there. When Dota first came out. So this is on a couple of levels. So the first one being that genre coming out, a really good game coming out for that, but at the same time, the application of like a real on-chain multiplayer something.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that crispy looking thing, and yeah, that's it.
I would say each genre has its own audience, so I would hope that we will have a lot of games and a lot of options for every genre, for any kind of gamer. And from the personal preference, I would say I would love to play more AAA action adventure games on console. So that would be my wish.
I mean, I have to say, like, I like boring games when it comes to blockchain. The reason why is it's kind of funny, but then
Whatever does it for you.
yeah. So the thing is this, right? Is that in recent years I've noticed that a lot of gamers are starting to move towards kind of like automation. You kind of you take out your phone, right? You open this RPG game, and then you set it to auto. It runs for you while you do your job. It's like there's this one segue that's happening, and there's this one game, right, that I have been playing for the past, I think, almost 3 years already, and it's blockchain. And it's Upland. It's this game called Upland. So it has at times positioned itself as a metaverse game or whatever it is, right? But it's in a very simple sense, it's like Monopoly. It's open world Monopoly, super boring. You go in, you collect your rent, you collect it once every day or once every week, and then you just buy something, a piece of land in Tokyo or a piece of land in like New York or whatever, and then you just quit, and then you come back to it again, and then you put some money in, you put $50 in or $100 in, collect the rent, and then you go leave. But there is some level of definitely stickiness when it comes to Upland. At the peak of the market, the properties within the Upland game was worth like 10 times, but it was still way less than what other games were worth. But even now, right, they have an open market value where users could kind of like sell the properties, extract it through PayPal, for example. And I think that's really amazing, because then this thing has been like pretty persistent, and it's like one of the more boring games. From my point of view, of course, I'm not a game dev, right? I read an article recently that says that where's game development kind of like pushing, AAA games are getting more and more expensive, and the cost to build is like marginally, like, you know, getting a lot of very, very tricky. So I think that could be like something that a lot of games explore. Actually, boring games, you know, you don't have to be the number one game that the guy plays 4 hours a day. Just be the third game, you know, in his wallet when he opens up. Every month he spends $300 on you, and then, you know, why not, right?
Totally get it. I mean, personally, I'm kind of excited about just casual gaming. I think there's been this misconception that Web3 gaming, it means you have to spend a lot of time and money, and it's just like inaccessible to everybody, and it's not very mobile friendly, and so on. And I think that's not true. I mean, developers that are building on ReadyGG are actually building over 60% on mobile, taking a more like casual sense. So for me personally, when it comes to genres, it's definitely around hybrid casual. And I think what's really awesome is, I mean, 10, 15 years ago, that's when free-to-play games kind of came on the market, and everybody was so like anti-free-to-play game. It wasn't a game. It didn't make sense. Like, what do you mean? And now we're kind of seeing that with Web3 gaming, kind of that same conversation happening. But the beauty of these casual kind of free-to-play games now is that they have more purpose in Web3. thus hybrid casual, in which now the point of ownership, the sort of journey or player journey part that's being integrated into these games is really super fascinating. Because even if you want to play 5 or 10 minutes per day, you get those 5 to 10 minutes per day of that casual gaming, but at the same time, every tranche of 5 to 10 minutes gives you some form of ownership, some form of feedback. And that, I think, will be existentially such a big difference when it comes to just like players in general, because they're actually going to see that their time in these games have value. And from that inflection point, can we really grow so much of the conversation? So I think that hybrid casual side, which again, on our side, we're seeing so many developers starting to build into, I think is what I'm super excited about, because I think that's like opening the doors and welcoming gaming to everybody and saying, no, if you don't want to spend, 4 hours or you don't want to commit, money up front, yeah, there's games for you. And we're going to show you how we're accessing like tech specifically and giving you such like an elevated, fun experience rather than all the misconceptions you've known about. And here are, the games being built. So wondering like what you guys kind of think about hybrid casual in general and sort of like this opening up to now these like, the first billion players are going to really come from casual gaming on mobile, probably from a lot of emerging countries.
I would love to respond to that because I think we have a really good example. We are casual mobile gaming platform. And first, I would like to address generally the mobile gaming. I'm glad to see that we are witnessing some of the changes on the Play Store and App Store side. So at the beginning, there was a really restricted policy. There was no advertising allowed, so it was definitely a limitation for games to grow and for companies to reach as many users as possible. But now we are seeing the cases of App Store featuring the first blockchain game. It's called NFL Rivals. We are seeing that Google will allow the advertisements for NFT games. So this is absolutely a great change because we'll witness a lot of people to onboard and play blockchain games as never before. Now back to the casual gaming. I think the casual games have like really big advantage of onboarding millions of users because it's just so easy to play and it's just so accessible for everyone. And I would say that at Arcade with our project, we have had some of the huge collaborations with Web2 or Web3 projects, like for example Manchester City with NASA. We had the Decentral Games with the Sandbox, and we have seen like a massive impact and growth on our end, seeing like a massive interest from the users that they're really enjoying playing games, connecting with each other, and at the same time like getting rewarded and having sense of like community and ownership of the assets that they're gaining out of the super fun gameplay. So I think that casual games is already playing a huge part into that. And also we have recently launched a league. It's a Web3 gaming league where we are allocating really big rewards for the users who come in and play the games. And we will have a new official season coming in November, for example, based on the casual games, which is available on Arcade. And we have a prize pool. We are aiming to have a prize pool about $100,000 in tokens and NFTs. And it's going to be the biggest interoperable Web3 gaming event where we'll be unifying basically the entire ecosystem through the gamification. So this is like an amazing opportunity for gamers and casual gamers, even if they're not like familiar with all the Web3 ecosystem, it's going to be a very smooth process for them to join in and get basically rewards for their skills, for their participation while they're having like the great time and fun playing the casual games.
Yeah, and just to build on that, I mean, I think you're hitting on like certain demographics and how you're sort of building for the demographics. Just wondering, I guess, Daniel, Nick, and Irene, just about your demographic that you're targeting. What do you think, what is it, and what do you think that there's sort of, what's attracting them to Web3 essentially?
For me, my personal demographic is my mom, the one who stopped me from playing games. So she got hooked in Candy Crush, right? And she paid a lot for that. So when I found similar games to Candy Crush in blockchain, there was a game called Escamaverse early last year. I got her in. And I got her to play without telling her anything about NFT. I just set it up. I said, Mom, it's all set up. Stop playing Candy Crush. Stop using my credit card, all right? Start playing this one instead. And she enjoyed it. That's how the way it should be, right? She doesn't have to know. And coming to the demographics of VGG, 95% of our community are crypto, I call them crypto virgins, basically newbies, never heard about crypto at all in their lives. The reason is simple. I learned from a local Indonesian bank called SBRI. This is that they always want to be the first to create bank accounts for the people because everyone will always remember their first bank account.
Yeah.
So I want to position VGG as the first one to introduce them to their first crypto wallets. And that's the reason why a lot of the community members until today is still very sticky. And I'd like to clarify that we would like to build communities that are very close to each other, close-knitted, but non-judgmental as well. So we do not kick anyone out, right? We embrace everyone to come in regardless of whether you know crypto or not. And hyper-casual game is the best way to unite everyone together. And most importantly, to remind everyone the joy of playing games. I just want to have a quick show of hands from the audience. Who plays games here today? Does anyone plays games here? Oh my God. Does anyone do not play games here?
Wish
All
I
right.
could play more.
Okay, you still play, right?
I wish I could play more, but yeah.
Okay, good. I saw 3 show of hands here. So that's my target, that I would like to remind everyone of the joy of playing games. Because you know what? Playing games is not just on our phone. We always say, let's go play chess. Let's go play basketball. Why is play such a huge element to our life? Because it brings us joy. And so I think hyper-casual games will do that. And at the same time, bring us income later on. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm going to agree with a lot of that. And, you know, at the past conferences that we've been through, even if at GDC, which was predominantly a very Web 2 focused one, it opened my eyes to something that any new developer, any new studio should maybe address before they actually start building the game. And that's not so much a focus on the genre of what you want to build, but more the experience that you want to provide and what that model is for the end user, for the player. Because yes, we can implement a blockchain supported thing, but on our side, we're like, oh, it's so great because we're in Web3. For a new player, we're so focused on the onboarding right now, we don't really focus on what happens after that. We want to make onboarding seamless, single sign-on, all these things, spin up a classic wallet. But then when a new player comes in, then they realize, okay, well, now there's NFTs, there's all this journey that they have to go down themselves, this rabbit hole that they're basically having zero to little guidance. And I think we should start focusing on that, what's that experience, and stop treating blockchain gaming as, I mean, we all say, blockchain gaming is just gaming at the end of the day. I agree. I don't think everyone else sees it like that. I think that we should be treating blockchain gaming as an experience as someone else sees a game as free to play, as mobile, as hyper casual. And it's really, what is that blockchain? How is that going to benefit the user's experience at the end of the day? Or do they even want that? And if they don't, how do we make them want that? So
the rabbit hole that you're talking about is the regular Web 2 like player funnel that we've been working on for the longest time, right?
Are.
So, I mean, that's the concept, right? We're taking things that we know and we're just elevating them and optimizing them in Web 3, and we're showing like the benefits of ownership and so on, and gamifying the benefits of ownership. And for publishers especially, it opens up a whole new territory where now you're connecting franchises together, you're connecting game experiences together, and you're demonstrating to players that their time spent in one game has value in another game, and so on and so on. The hardest part of building a game is user acquisition. Doing now user acquisition based on assets that a player has, or data, on-chain data that a player has. Amazing. I mean, now you're targeting the right players, and at the same time, it's not so much about the targeting part, it's about the offering them what they want part, right? If they're used to playing poker games, great, and you're building a poker game, give them the poker chip that they want for them to essentially start playing. And they're gonna be super happy, but what you've just done is done an affirmative, like, great user acquisition right there that you couldn't have done in Web 2. So I think it's all these little elements that now are slowly, like, we're really coming to the realization how Web 3 gaming will just give a better, fun, like, player experience in the end.
Can I chuck a quick curveball to everyone on this panel? Because it's something that I've been thinking about. And that is, we've been so focused on trying to get mass adoption for Web 2 users. And I've also heard the other side, which is, why aren't we focusing on the Web 3 guys who are in here in this early space? Is it because our industry is too early? Or is it because we haven't found that maturity yet? That's a question for you guys, complete curveball.
I think it's, for me, it hasn't been about so much Web 2 players and Web 3 players. It's been about providing fun game experiences for whomever is looking for one. So I think it's also just the juxtaposition of, like, how to talk about it. So that's essentially for me. I know we have 1 minute, so that's a great last question. So let's go. Let's go with that.
So maybe I'll kind of answer that. So before we had gaming kind of like come into the scene, right? Crypto and as well as DeFi was just about money. So it was kind of like towards the financial services side. The tricky part was, and it still is, right, is because when you have somebody that's trying to deploy capital into gaming, they cannot deploy a large amount. If they want to do large amounts, they have to do it through the VC route or through the angel route. And that makes it a lot harder. That means there's a throttling point in a lot of these things. For example, like XC, once again, you kind of like have people buying a lot of XCs, getting people to play it for them, and then that's like the scaling part, right? So I think if, let's say, we have games that's really thinking about capital, you really have to kind of like tilt the way you're thinking. For example, transactions could be worth a lot of money to some certain buyers. So if, let's say, that's like, so what I'm talking about is that I believe that blockchain gaming was split into two major camps. One camp is going to be like games and hyper casual or AAA, super fun, but might not have as much capital that's involved. And then the blockchain gaming part, the capital optimized games, right, that the VCs or the investors will know, like, okay, I know that they get it. They know what I'm trying to play. And this is the Web3 part where speculation, the speculation part is enabled. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. So I guess I'll kind of end it this way. I mean, I think we're going to see a lot of optimization and just evolution in just gaming in general, which will have Web3, integrations in it. I think from all our side of what we're building, we're seeing a lot of builders building games and bringing up things that are incredibly interesting. So just, excited to kind of see the next 100 games, how they look like, genres, people playing it, and I think we're going to be surprised by it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to our very esteemed panelists coming from Blockchain Game Alliance, VGG, Unix Gaming, Arcade, and Algorand Foundation. Let's wait for the hotel staff to prepare for our next keynote session. Okay, so that was a very insightful panelist discussion on Web3 gaming and the evolution on what Web3 gaming is going to be. And I see what a couple of guys did there by saying that their favorite game was My Neighbor Alice. Nice one. So without further ado, I want to invite our next keynote speaker, Ricardo. He's actually the Chief Product Officer from My Neighbor Alice that everyone's been raving about. So, Mr. Ricardo, sir, please take the stage. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, now it works. Okay. Hello, everybody. And I will start with one question. and something to say. This has 5 seconds delay, so now it worked. And who did hear about my neighbor Alice? Okay, that's a lot actually. But everybody today will hear about my neighbor Alice because I'm doing this presentation. And so we are a project that is born in 2021. We were Binance Launch Pool Project of the Year. And we started with a mission. And actually, I heard it before in the panel. When is the next, the first decentralized game coming? So our mission is to create the first fully decentralized game where we have a focus on players, a self-expression, collaboration, and community. We do this fully decentralized, and it's actually an MMO game. All of this with one thing that we believe in, to move the power to the players. We build on a blockchain called Chromia, which slogan is power to the public, and we want to give actually the power to the players. We want to shift from studios and publisher and give to the people that actually makes the game successful, the people who play it. By the way, all the images that you will see here and videos, they're actually real footage of the game. So in order to build this, we have to set our priorities straight. The first thing was we need to be fully decentralized. Our idea is to create something that if we as a developer and builders of this technology just move away, the game will survive forever. So as long as there will be blockchain, my neighbor Alice can be played. The second was to create something that it was community-driven. One thing is to create something and just give it out. One thing is to ask people to participate and to make it cool. So Alice, the world of my neighbor Alice, is composed of few islands, 6 islands in one archipelago, and people actually shape these islands with their taste. So they can create their houses, they can create their buildings, their transport, and so forth. All of this by guaranteeing a Web3-oriented approach. So all of these always happen on a smart contract in a trustless way. Communities can form naturally, and you can trust the community you join or you participate in because it's regulated by the smart contract rules. Besides that, we also have a Web3-oriented mindset ourselves. We collaborate a lot with different projects, so I know that all of you probably work in the industry, and we want to connect with all of you. So how we do decentralized logic? Usually, games are either games with NFTs or other projects that are mostly DeFi with some gamification. We wanted to bring these two approaches together and to offer something that was actually rewarding to the players and interesting for the token holders. So usually when you have an NFT, you just have an ID on the blockchain, really, and then all the images at best are on a decentralized storage such as IPFS. The game itself is actually working on the server, and at best, sometimes it even works only on the client, which is very easy to manipulate. What we do, we replace the server with a layer 2 solution called Chromia, and this allows to actually first interconnect with any blockchains that we want, and second, make sure that the logic executed is always truth to itself, truth to the game, truth to the community, and truth to the ownership, therefore the players. I actually click the next slide. Yes. Another part of my neighbor Alice is about being community-driven. And every season, we release the games in seasons, so major updates to the community. First season was about fishing, second season was about farming, and this season that we just released is about crafting. We have partnered with some brands, and the peculiarity of my neighbor Alice is that since we are fully decentralized, also the information about the asset itself are decentralized. Players can now create items with their own material, colors, patterns, personalization, sticker, and logos as they please. And all this information is stored on the blockchain and is part of the gameplay. You can, for example, grant access to people if they have a particular NFT of a particular brand, if they have a particular color, if it was built by a particular designer, because all these informations are now on chain. And this creates a lot of opportunities for user-generated content. Brands, people can create the items, the garment, furniture, houses that they want, sell it, or just produce them themselves. Essentially creating something that is extremely personalized, unique, and to uniqueness is usually correlated a feeling of ownership. And if Web3 is about something so far, it's about actually owning your own assets. Wait a bit. Yes, so these are some examples created by the community. You can have different garments, different clothes, different assets, you craft them. So actually, you really grew an attachment to the item itself. You have to fish, you have to farm, you have to gather the resources in order to craft the item. You have to talk with the brand or whoever is publishing the recipe to create such an item, and then you craft it. Essentially, you have a full experience that it lasts one session or more, where you actually really interact with the brand and you do something that connects you with the brand. We're actually allowing people to experience the brand instead of just paying some currency in order to get an NFT. Wait a bit, again. Yes, and with that, as said, we are very community-driven. We are governed by the token holders, so essentially we are DAO, and we are actually we are owned by the players, and this actually holds true to the slogan that we have: power to the players. Ultimately, we are extremely Web3 oriented. My Neighbor Alice is a project that is born from Chromaway, which created a blockchain called Chromia. We launched with Binance. We have a partnership with the major marketplace, and ourselves, we created several tools that are used now by many other games. We created launchers, we created marketplaces, we created libraries that are now used by many. Also, we are member of some alliances, like the BGA and OMA3, where we actually work into creating standards to guarantee an open experience in the metaverse, in the true vision of what Web3 should be. So this is Alice in short, and it was really the essential you should know. So now all of you know about us, and if you have any more question or any more curiosity, you can scan this QR code and you can get much more. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ricardo. Can we just keep the QR code up here for a few minutes, please? The QR code that was displayed by my neighbor Alice, can we just keep it here for a few more minutes? I think a couple of guys are still outside, but for those who are outside, and if you can hear me, the next panelist discussion is going to be an interesting one. So don't miss it. Come in. It's actually a VC panelist discussion. Yes, you heard that right. VC panelist discussion. I think this is probably the most interesting panelist discussion that's going to happen today. So for those who are outside, do come in, take a seat, listen to the next few speakers that I'm going to introduce shortly. So before we start, I just want to share a little bit of a backstory about how actually the brand conference happened today. So, I mean, me and James, we actually had the luxury to travel to Japan just a couple of months ago. And when we went there, we actually met a couple of guys like Nanter and at IVS Kyoto. And that's where we found out that, oh, actually Japan is a pretty interesting place to build up some network. So we found out that these guys are actually in Japan at a point of time, and we thought, hey, why not? Let's do something interesting for Token 2049. And thankfully for us, they have been gracious enough to grace their presence here and join us at this brand launch. So not only that, most of the IVC team actually helped us to invite some of the esteemed partners that you see today. So I would just like to give a big thank you to the IVC team. So if you guys are tuning in from the live stream, thank you, IVC team. You have been really gracious helping us with this event. And this brand launch wouldn't have happened if not for the help of you guys. Okay, so yeah, without further ado, let me just introduce the panelists to come on stage. Nanta Chow from the Venture and Investment team. He's the head of portfolio strategy. He's going to be our moderator for today, so Nanta. And also Anne. Anne Chen is a principal investment from IVC, so she's going to be here as well. Rafe Rahim from Animoca Brands team. He's the associate director of digital assets. Dora Jiang from Conflux is the global BD lead. Dora, please. And also from ICP Definity Foundation, Mr. Milind Kumar. So maybe we'll just give a couple of minutes for Anne to be here. I think she just went to the washroom. So yeah, other than that, I think quite a couple of guys outside, they are just mingling around. VC panel is happening. So please come in if you want to listen to some of the VCs speaking about AI and Web3, okay? So just a couple of minutes and we will start.
Anne's here.
I just stopped by a few portfolio of ours.
Oh, no worries, no worries. No, so I think this is the second and the last panel. So maybe we can start off with introductions. Maybe with the panelists. Let Anne start.
Hi everyone, this is Anne from IVC, Infinity Venture Crypto. So we are a Web3 fund, started out from Japan, started out like as a Web2 fund like back in 10 years ago. And we rolled out our like Web3 arms about like 2 years ago. Total AUM is about 85 million, and our famous LPs from Japan, including quite a few like gaming studios, including like Sega, Bandai Namco, DNA, Mixia, Kazuki, and also Animoca as well as also our investors. Yeah, so we have done about like 200 portfolio investment in the past 2 years, all in Web3s, and yeah, we are now about like rolling over to our fund too.
Hi everyone, my name is Rafe from Animoca. You could call me Raf, it makes it easier on everyone. basically, I think Animoca is probably most famous for its investments across the Web3 gaming space. We have about 475 investments in our portfolio. Currently, however, I sit here representing a team called the Digital Asset Team, and basically it started as managing the balance sheet for Animoca, but it evolved very quickly into having a listing arm to help our projects list on exchanges, also have a market-making arm, a trading arm. We do joint research pieces. We run node validation for different projects, and of course, from time to time, make balance sheet investments as well.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dora, and I'm head of BD of Conflux Network. So in short, Conflux is the only permissionless exchange in China, and we launched our mainnet from 2020. And personally, I'm charged of EVM chain. So last year, beside of our native space, we right now also have our EVM compatible space. So in China, we have experience of exploring NFT landscape. And we do have a very local partnership with bigger names like Oreo in China, McDonald's in China. And yeah, that's our Conflux. And you can just call me Dora, and then we'll be there afterwards if you want to talk and chat with us. Welcome.
Hi everyone, I'm Milind Kumar from Definity Foundation. Layer 1 blockchain is Internet Computer Protocol. Just a quick wrap up is we've gone live a few years ago, but Definity as a foundation, as a research foundation, has been live since 2016. After 4 or 5 years of research foundation and one of the largest in-house researchers, cryptographers, and developers, we went live a few years ago. Currently, we have around 250 projects built on IC. Some have been given grants. We have a bigger pool of a developer grant, and our main goal is moving towards being a layer 0. Recently, we finished native integration with Bitcoin, allowing us to put advanced smart contracts on Bitcoin. We are working on the same with Ethereum and then other layer 1 blockchains. So eventually, crypto and blockchain as one could be a family where you could be on different chains but still interact with each other. We are 100% on chain, so one of the things what we do and why we're doing this integration is then people wouldn't need to have their project stored on a Web 2 solution, but actually on a Web 3 solution, moving towards the real side of Web 3. I'll keep it short, and maybe we can then dive more later.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for the intro, guys. And just real quickly on myself, I'll be moderating the panel. My name is Nenter Chow. I am part of the Ventures investment team and head of portfolio strategy for Animoca Ventures, which is the early stage investing arm of Animoca Brands. So we primarily participate in pre-seed, seed, up to Series A, all across Web3, not just limited to Web3 gaming, DeFi, tooling, infra, analytics, social-fi, etc. So happy to be here today to support Coinstore's brand launch. And with that, I think we'll get right into it. So our topic today is really about a topic that captured a lot of mind share, especially across the investment space, for the earlier half of the year, AI, right, with the, on the back of the success of OpenAI. So the first question for the panelists is, with the introduction of AI, what's your view on sort of the future innovation as it relates to the Web3 industry?
I can take that. I think innovation-wise, looking into the future, both short and long term, essentially it's going to be driven around experiential types of developments, and personally, I think. So for example, some of the things we're seeing in gaming, we have experiences whereby non-player characters or NPCs, you come into a game, they've gone and had their own experiences, so when you log out and you log back in, they have gone and they then interact with you within the wealth of their experiences that they have garnered, right? Same for environments, right? We see firms right now currently creating repository of AI-driven environments and even animals and stuff, and they have their own little ecosystem, and they have their own little experiences, and it's kind of a little bit surreal, right? I mean, you're kind of giving them a mind and a voice, and they're going out into that world. I think also NFT-wise, NFTs also are starting to be given personalities. They're starting to be driven by mood, and I think shameless plug here, we invested actually majority share in a firm called Pixelinks. And what Pixelinks does, it has this NFT. music-driven NFT, and it has its own moods and it has its own swings. But also, what it'll allow you to do, according to those moods and according to those swings, is remix music from a repository, or even create music from a repository of various artists. Right, the firm itself was started by electronic music legend deadmau5, and so you can draw from all of that. There are a couple of other things, but I'll let the panel do a little bit more talking.
Sure. I mean, I think for personally, as a gamer, I'm 100% with your point of view. I think with the AI introduction to the real, and like an NPC will be make the game whole next level in terms of imagine when NPC used to have their own script with the same dialogue, everything, right? But with the with the involvement of the AI, I think the RPC will be much real that we expected. And I think we can also talk a little bit for trading part, for example, right? This technology, we call it cognitive biases, which means when we are trading, we are humans, we're a species, right? So for me, 5% of loss compared to 5% benefits of the gain that I made, it's very different. I cannot stand for 5% losses, much bigger than instead of the excitement that gave me for 5% profit. So as a species, I think in terms of trading, we cannot be always biased or be logic. And by introduction of the AI, I think that can help us to trade more prudently, I would say, and more effectively. So yeah, I think that will make different in terms of users' point of view of trading point.
One thing to add to that is AI always existed like from before, and so did blockchain. What this does is it brings two industries, if I would say, together, which in itself was strong, but somehow lacked a credibility in the larger section, which might or might not be true, because sometimes people are not used to this. But coming together, it's going to be a force that could be very positive in multiple ways. Right now, like, just picking out a line from what one of my panelists back in like June mentioned in Dubai is like, blockchain is an industry with a solution looking for a problem. And technically AI has those problems being answered. So coming together, it's going to be good, not only for the usual section, but for the corporate side with supply chains and authenticity, because right now AI lacks that. What blockchain can support and what blockchain lacks is the indirect adoption AI already has. Because today everybody's working with AI, they just directly don't know that it's AI. It's just, for them it's a computer, but it's AI. So this together is going to be a very strong force. If done rightly, with proper intent, this could be game-changing for both.
Actually, just to bolster your point, I 100% agree with you. There are already projects now building on top of like Ethereum mainnet or whatever it is that allow individual users to actually create their own set of AI tools and services to be able to distribute to the market. And that's all built on blockchain. And yeah, I mean, just to complement your point.
Absolutely. Anne, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think, besides like a lot of like the gaming contents, which was so invested into like a generative AIs, not just like for the developer, for the game builders, a lot of like the content itself. Also like if you could be already seeing from like the Roblox or Minecraft, if like AI could be embedded inside, like more contents could be like from the creators, could be like generated much easier. And with the massive amounts of like contents being created by AI, there probably needed still to be like a recommendation engine, which still needed to like having AI. So besides the gaming space, we are also recently exploring into the decentralized like computing inference. So through the because like so far like AI has been around like for ages. So back then like the application start taking off like probably like 2016, 2017. Back then like people were investing into like the computer visions like NLPs, but like people still find a really hard way to monetize until like the ChatGPT actually take off, and people feel like the generative AI or the large language model like the GPT like 3 or ChatGPT itself is actually could be like adding more utilities, but at the same time you actually needed more like computational powers. So with the like AI, like the solution itself, it's from a very centralized solution because it's very statistics, big data, while like blockchain is talking about like decentralizations. So if like a lot of like AI applications probably being embedded around in our life, your data could be like controlled by a single entity. But with the blockchain technologies, it could be like enabled to be having like an encrypted, more like a safer layers that could be protecting or giving the data like a ownership back to the users. So I think those are actually some kind of like application levels that we are seeing either like from the gaming space, generative AI, or like decentralizing for the computational like AI inference, and also like data protections could be for the AI applications could be the data privacy could be protected by the blockchains either through the ZK like layers, encryption layers. Yeah.
Definitely, you don't want Westworld to occur, right? Okay. No, that's great. The second question, what sort of changes do you guys feel that AI will bring to institutional investments, and just in terms of investment strategies, decisions?
It's a loaded question, man. I mean, besides sucking up all of the VC funding for crypto, what has AI done for us? Yeah, I mean, so obviously crypto is the flavor of the month. And now AI is the flavor of the year. I think the name of the game here is convergence. I think the two will converge and then create the next round of overinflated valuations, essentially. But I think for institutional investment, when you consider that, there are two buckets that you kind of have to split it into, right? One would be the private market investments, and the other would be the public market investments. Within the private market investments, I think some things we could be seeing is an increase in using AI to scour the web and data crunch and create these basic models, which obviously need human oversight and insight in order to make eventual investment decisions. From the public market perspective, I think AI can definitely help clean up a lot of the algos, trading algos particularly. I also do believe that it can essentially eventually serve as the new Bloomberg terminal type thing, whereby you create a repository of information. It's all basically updated according to AI, according to the more recent moves in the market, etc. But I think even more fundamental than that is its ability for batch analysis. So batch analysis and all of that kind of all of the things that follow that. But the issue right now I think we're facing is the integrity of the data that is now provided. It's really tough to make investment decisions when some of that data is not really, like for example, ChatGPT, right? There was an exchange, I'm not going to name which exchange, it wasn't this one, that tried that tried essentially to implement ChatGPT as a customer service layer. And what it found was, it was super impressed, that exchange, with its ability to batch analyze all of this data, collate it, and accumulate it, and respond to these basic queries. But once you scratched the surface and got into just a tiny bit of complexity within those requests, it was unable to process them, and it provided false information. It was still recommending FTX as a trading venue, these kinds of things. So there's still a long way to go, but I think fundamentally, private and public market-wise, there are things that can be done.
Definitely makes a lot of sense.
Actually, taking a sidetrack on that, it also, like, since you mentioned institutional investments, there's a second option, there's a second thing that we also need to consider. It gives us in blockchain a second chance at correcting something we went wrong in the previous time without the AI. Since, you know, panelists here are from the investment background, investment company, ICP itself, on our website, we have a $200 million grants, which is non-equity grants. One thing that we got to be very careful here, and this is where a good unity in a positive way in the industry is going to be helpful, is not really funding every single project that comes to you. Without naming projects, I was at this other event once, and there was this lady chasing me around for 3 days about a granting for almost $3 million with no prototype ready, and a presentation built for another chain, and we're not compatible on that chain. And the best negotiating point was, but that chain is willing to give me X amount of dollars. So talking about investments, this is really important, because the place where crypto and blockchain started losing the credibility was all these projects that came in with quick money to make money with no really idea of what the blockchain is, or even if they needed blockchain for that product. And then coming in, cashing out, making out the money, and then leaving left blockchain in a place where the credibility was questioned. So since you brought up investment as a question, I think it's also for us to be very clear and sure that we're getting a second chance at this, which many industries don't get, that we are actually providing investments to the right company with the right product, and there's a need for that company to do X, Y, and Z, and why they're doing it. Because if that doesn't happen, it's going to come in strong, and then again, there's going to be a lot of, like how he mentioned, a bot telling you to go to an exchange which just crashed 3 months ago and making no sense at all, losing credibility all over again.
Absolutely. Dora, Anne, you guys have anything to?
I wouldn't say there's wouldn't be much of the change. I think it will be more like a value add. And if we could see like AI investment is not really from the day one. Like as I mentioned, like back in like 2016, 2017, there were actually already a lot of like Web2 VC looking to the AI space. So back then you had like a computer vision like application finally come out with a better like monetization way, because AI itself is actually a like you are aggregating like data in like building on your like algorithm in like, but at the end of the day, you still need the model to be applied for a certain kind of like applications. So if you're just building out like an algorithm itself, like without the application being used, like it would be no way for like the project to actually sustain for a long term. So it's actually until like back then, like you still have like computer vision. So like such as you have like big projects such as SenseTime from China actually just become like a unicorn projects, and they work closely with the like governments, probably the immigrations or even on the traffic lights, probably not really censorship, but it's like a more like a facial recognitions for identifying through the immigrations or even like on the road. So actually some applications or way of monetization has been discovered back in like 2017, 18. So until now, it's after like ChatGPT is actually taken off and OpenAI also show their generative like the image with the type of the text, it can actually generate the image. So people see that like this kind of a new set of like the LLM, like new language that we are probably evolving from the NLP to finally now the natural language like a generation from the previous like natural language processing. Throughout the process that you could be like providing the value add, and there could be more like adoptions and people are willing to pay for the contents that's being generated to AI. And this is actually more toward like a retail adoption, like product sets that's using with the AI technologies. So I wouldn't say that there wouldn't be much of the change. It's just that like with the technology and also like the training for the algorithm is actually getting more mature. You have like a more larger set of data sets and more application layers is actually being discovered using all these like trend models. That would just like be more value add in any kind of like applications that it just enable for either like institutions to like corporates to adopt such models, and for also like investors to explore for the opportunity to invest.
Yeah, I think we'll stick this question a bit long, so I'll just make very quick. 100% agree with your point of view. I think we're early stage talking how actually the AI will help us in terms of an institutional point of view to investment. For a Confluence venture, for example, right now, what do we think at the early stage where we can use AI as a like simple tooling where it can help us, for example, with the big data of insight, help us to reduce right now our current work and task to, let's say, to discover those current project and the team. So simple data for us is much simpler to drive, and in the future, in terms of with the AI tooling, we can save in the time cost and the risk management. So make it simple right now. For the stage that we are, we just make it that tool that's enough. And I believe in the near future, the involvement of AI will be much unpredictable. And hopefully not like you said in the Western world side, but right now as a tooling for ventures, fair enough to use asset.
Okay. Recently, Kathy Woods stated that she believed the combination of Bitcoin and AI could lead to a seismic shift in how traditional companies operate and ultimately redefining productivity and structures. Do you believe that to be true? And if so, how do you see that being achieved?
We always have comments as this which are usually correct, but what's lacking in this, and then what usually we need to figure out is what's the timeline. So eventually things will come, but how long are we looking at? Because crypto and blockchain itself is in its infancy. Now with AI, which existed before, the moment it came under the umbrella of blockchain, it's gone back to its infancy phase. So how long is this going to take, and what are the factors that are going to play out? That's going to be really difficult to predict. It's a positive statement and something that most likely will happen, but again, this could take decades. Maybe all of us could be retired by then, or it could happen maybe just in a few years. A change happens immediately. It's just the build up to the change. That's what nobody probably today can predict is going to happen when.
Okay. And we probably have just enough time for one last question. So in what aspects can AI and mainnet be integrated, and what are sort of the future development trends of mainnet?
Oh, I think one simple way is actually you let ChatGPT to write smart contracts, not writing using the Solidity language to write. But this is probably not super recommended because there could be still either AI. There could be still perfect, but the older models could be still predicted and. It's actually also a dangerous way of doing so, but it's actually AI is enabling doing that. Yeah.
I think for us, being a layer one, what we focusing a lot is the community based, and education always been very important for Conflux. So I think for us, very simple using AI. Imagine in the future. Right now, we're talking a lot about learn to earn, or those sort of educational campaign, right? And so AI can help us in terms of educating those community members about what is blockchain technologies in there, and ultimately we can drive to the blockchain technology into mass adoption. Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot of applications built on top of a variety of different mainnets, and maybe even AI-driven and benefited mainnets in and of itself as well. Like I was mentioning before, like Singularity Net, for example, set of tools, AI-driven down to its most micro service, can then be distributed, and a whole variety of different things. I mean, the thing about AI is it can be limitless, and we really kind of just scratching the surface between the marriage of blockchain and AI, and so they're tough questions to answer because, as you were saying, right, Milind, we just don't know how long it's going to take.
Yeah, and one more thing to add to that, it's like sometimes we get carried away with emotions and we think it's always going to be the life-changing things. There could be some things very simple, very simple at the level that it's not something which is high-tech, but it could be still having AI with blockchain. For example, we have some projects in the Middle East building on ICP right now involving AI. It's pretty much around the modeling agencies because they have restrictions with local regulations of having models and X and Y and Z on their platform, so their AI is helping them a lot. Some places it's helping some of our projects to get things localized immediately, which is not a very, again, alien tech or any space tech, but it's helpful. It's getting the job done. So it's going to be simple projects and some really big projects with multinational companies, but in between is where we're going to find the use of AI. Simple projects reaching real life people, getting something out of it immediately and not just a hope for the longer run. And it's already taking in place. It's just, it needs to be more identified.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think given the amount of time that's left, I think that will probably be the end of the panel. Are we doing questions? Okay, please.
Guest speakers, can we open a question? To
yes, absolutely, please.
Whoa, whoa.
Hi.
This was uncalled for.
Not control, right? Hi, my name is Vito. I come from All Art. So I have a question about intellectual property rights. You were mentioning, of course, training of AI, and we know that AI has been trained all around the internet, but this data is actually a property of someone, right? So my question to you guys is, do you think that this is the role of blockchain? To actually register, certify the data, and then enable AI to train on someone who actually committed to train AIs, because then the blockchain can redistribute the monetization to the actual people providing the data that AI was trained on. I mean, in my mind, this is the way that blockchain integration with AI should go.
Thank you for your question, and I think you've answered your own question.
Exactly. Well, it was more like a comment on that.
No, but I mean, at Animoca Brands, I'm not sure if you've heard Yat speak at all. Digital property rights are something that's fundamental to our vision. So yes, 100%. I think that type of data ownership is going to be super, super key. And yeah, the role of blockchain across any industry, infrastructure, gaming, education, therapy, everything, we believe that that is the fundamental component. And so that definitely will extend, at least in our heads, into AI as well.
Because we saw a lot of lawsuits that are now sparked across the world where, you know, like IPs, you know, being, how do you say this, infringed, right? So that's a big problem, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and also art. I mean, it extends to absolutely everything, right?
Yeah, artists are going mad. I mean, the protests in Hollywood are all about it, you know, like in everywhere around the world, so.
Yeah.
You know, to adding to that, blockchain has already been doing this. So like mentioned, for AI, this is going to be a bonus. Because just as an example, we have a project built on ICP called Coinstore. And this is, you can consider this the Web3 version of Spotify. And their IP is the first thing that was taken into consideration, because once you upload it, you need to be sure the person who's putting it out there actually owns it. And once it's there, nobody else takes it and then claims it to be there. So blockchain has been doing this, and yet this is one thing for authentication that blockchain is going to provide, and definitely is going to provide some support to AI for that. A slight problem could be is the government regulations here and there, but at least the blockchain having it on the chain itself would be some sort of testament that it was there before by someone. The legal and the morality aspect would kick in, because some countries are very negative towards a blockchain aspect to it, claiming the authenticity there. But in the long run, yes, this is something that will be the key change for AI when it comes along with many other things, but definitely as one of the front runners.
Thank you.
Okay.
Wow.
Is that the only question? Or?
Any more questions from the ground for our guest speakers?
I'd encourage you to read a piece by Arthur Hayes, actually, who talks about how Bitcoin, the structure of Bitcoin is actually the food that feeds and trains the AI bot and the system, right? And so that's why the marriage of the two is so unique, and actually the transparency of blockchain lends itself super, super well to training AI into that type of transparent fundamental ownership right, essentially.
Okay, well, if there's no more questions, please give it up for our panelists, and happy to meet everyone. Happy to meet everyone after the panel.
Can we get our guest speakers to take a photo together as a form of keepsake? Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. Panelist discussion from our experts today. Without further ado, the next keynote speaker is going to talk a little bit about our newest product line from Coinstore Group. So everyone who is still around, especially outside, you guys might want to come in, sit down, check out this new product from Coinstore Group. It's called Noah Swap. And let's invite the lovely lady, Joey Chia, who is the Chief Operating Officer from Noah Swap, to give a keynote presentation. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank you everyone for being here with us. So today, I will be going to showing you guys of our new products, Noah Swaps. So I think you guys will be a little bit curious what is the relationship between Coinstore and Noah Swaps. So we are basically the under the same group of Coinstore. We are under the same umbrella. So yes, basically we are having the same co-founder as well. So for today's sections, I will be going to share with you what is non-performing assets. So here we go with the content. Firstly, I will do a short introduction of myself. And moving forwards, we will talk about the evolutions of NPA, which is a non-performing assets. And talk about Noah Swaps, our business models, our roadmaps, our partnership with Coinstore, as well as our global partnerships programs. Okay, so I will start to do a short introductions of myself. So my name is Joey, and I am a Chief Operating Officer of this Noah Swap project. I'm also proud to be an official partner with Coinstore, as well as the Director of Non-Marketplace. So Non-Marketplace is actually an NFT marketplace, a part of Coinstore Group as well. Before I sharing more of Noah Swaps, I will actually need you guys to watch the 3-minute short videos to know more and have more understanding of these platforms.
Did you know? Currently, there are at least 320 million cryptocurrency investors worldwide. More than 92% of them hold non-performing assets, finding it difficult to sell. Among these investors, over 50% have experienced significant losses during trading. Moreover, over 60% of cryptocurrency investors believe that handling underperforming assets is one of the most severe challenges in the crypto market. As we navigate this digital era, the call for an innovative solution has never been louder. Introducing Noah Swap, the world's first non-performing assets mining and staking platform. Noah Swap is at the forefront of the blockchain industry, transforming your non-performing assets into consistent returns. Join us to learn more about Noah Swap. Noah Swap's vision and mission. We support cryptocurrency investors worldwide, particularly those who've endured notable market losses. Our mission is to provide cutting-edge solutions, guide investors towards reducing risks, and establish a global benchmark for managing underperforming blockchain assets. Noah Swap's unique model. To achieve our goals, we have adopted 2 unique models, enabling users to efficiently convert their devalued tokens into stable returns. Non-performing assets mining model. At Noah Swap, users can consolidate their non-performing assets into bundles. Users can stake assets to mint NUSD, which has a return value of ranging from 2 to 10 times. NUSD is anchored 1-to-1 with USDT, and can be readily swapped for Noah tokens. Token staking model. To stabilize Noah token, 70% used to recover Noah on the market, which will be burnt after recovery, with the remaining 30% allocated to staking rewards for platform users and platform daily operation cost. Users can stake Noah to earn higher returns and enjoy multiple ecosystem benefits. Noah Swap's assurance. To maintain our professionalism, Noah Swap has provided the 4 major assurance. Security. We utilize a variety of technologies to expand the liquidity pool, combined with third-party audits, guaranteeing compliant operations. Stability. NUSD is pegged 1-to-1 with USDT, ensuring the stable value of your crypto assets. Token mechanism. NOAA token has a deflationary feature, appreciating in value over time, and can be used for both trading and staking. Governance. We utilize a DAO model, ensuring transparent and fair governance processes. NOAA Swap's social responsibility. Beyond addressing non-performing assets, NOAA is deeply committed to social impact. The NOAA Foundation regularly repurchases NOAA tokens, directing the proceeds towards global sustainable development initiatives. NOAA Swap's business overview. In the future, we are committed to fostering the sustainable development of the platform and contributing to the growth of the crypto market. Join NOAA Swap to achieve higher returns from solving your non-performing assets issue. We welcome you to build a better financial arc of the crypto world.
All right, so I guess you guys have a pretty basic understanding of what is non-performing assets and also our platform as well. Okay. Okay, so before I go deep into what does non-performing assets, so for your understandings, from the traditional financial industry, like for examples, the borrowers when they can't pay back the loans, and also some of the assets management is actually going to lose their values, so it becomes non-performing assets. So in the traditional industry, we have a bunch of ways to actually deal with it. But when in crypto industry, in Web3, we don't have a big boss on that. So here's becomes NOAA Swaps comes into a pictures. Okay, so before we start this project, we actually did a lot of research on it. Some of the challenges in cryptocurrency markets, like 80% of the holders is actually capital loss in 2019. 95% of investors were actually facing financial loss in 2020 in the bear markets. Of course, in 2020 and also 2019, we have some of the Luna's issues as well as the FTX, right? So here we actually come with ideas to how to actually tackle such problems. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier on, the non-performing assets in the traditional finance, we have a bunch of ways to deal with it. But as of today's, when we actually bring things into Web3, which is a cryptocurrency, we don't really have a great way to deal with it. Okay, so I will go deep into about our platforms, NOAA Swaps, and how we are going to able to reduce losses from all this trading cryptocurrency. So we are actually the first non-performing assets mining and staking platforms. So we are also a decentralized autonomous organization. We call it a DAO to run our community and also get this DAO partner to involve into every decisions. So of course, our target audience will be the 320 million of the global crypto investors. And we are actually helping our global users to actually reduce their losses from the token investments. Okay, so here we comes to our non-performing assets mining model. How does it work? It actually means NUSD. NUSD is actually a stable coin, one-to-one pegged with USDT. So when users, I give you guys an example. So when users, if you're holding a Luna token, let's say, examples. So Luna tokens together with a USDT come with a portfolio assets and deposit into our platforms to mint our NUSD. NUSD able to one-to-one swap to our NOAA tokens, and our NOAA tokens will be listed on our Coinstore exchange on coming Fridays. And also to enhance the value of the assets, like from 2 to 10 times of the initial values. So we have onto our platforms, we have these two primary tokens play an important role, which is the NUSD, generated from a liquidity pool, and the NOAA native platform tokens, which is a core token for our platforms. So how do we stabilize our crypto, our token pricing? By repurchasing our token and also the burning mechanisms to stabilize our token pricings. Okay, so here we comes to solutions for governance tokens. So when we talk about governance tokens, it's actually whereas the governance tokens comes when user purchase or events when they actually get the NUSD to swap to our NOAA token and sticking onto our platforms. They were able to get this V NOAA token. So with this V NOAA tokens, they are able to actually get the privilege, depends on the amount itself, and also they can actually participate in certain decisions, and also the features and some of the benefits for our DAO members. Alright, so moving forward, I will share with you guys a business model of NOAA swaps. So here are the 4 simple business models that we have. The first one definitely will be the liquidity pool with the non-performing assets from networks. We are currently supporting 4 networks, which is Ethereum, Polygon, BSC, and Arbitrum, which cover more than 97% in this token market. NUSD issuance. NUSD is actually a stable coins issued from our platforms, one-to-one pegged with USDT. And also the values applications can actually grow 2 to 10 times, as I mentioned earlier, to maximize potential return for all the investors. Last but not least, also the captures returns. You also trade the NUSD, which this benefits on our business models. Okay, so last but not least, we come to our roadmap, development roadmaps and plannings. Moving ahead, we actually found out this cryptocurrency markets run into bear markets in 2020, and we start planning for this NOAA swaps. And in 2022, Luna incidents is actually comes into it, so that make us more even sure that we would like to start out such projects to actually reduce all the investor losses. And in late 2022, FTX bankruptcy issue is actually highlighted the need for non-performing asset services. So in late 2022, we actually come up with these ideas that we would like to start out such projects to actually help out a lot of investors to reduce their losses. And in this year, Q1s, we actually start developed these platforms. And we did a few testing beta versions until now. Just recently, 1 month ago, we actually officially launched our platforms, and it's live, it's ready. So you guys can actually search for noahswap.io to find more about that. We are currently working with 8 different projects onto our platforms. With FTX tokens, Lunar, Shiba token, and a few more. Yeah, currently it's actually live onto our platform, so users are already able to participate in such tokens. Oh, recently we actually did a IEO with our dear partner Coinstore. We did our IEOs just last Friday onto our Coinstore exchange, and the result was really incredible. So let me give a quick shout out to Coinstore. So whenever projects or whoever interested to do an IEO onto an exchange, welcome to reach out our Coinstore team for those guys that wearing a Coinstore shirts to find out more. All right, so we have successfully accumulated for over 900,000 USDT, and more than 30K user participates into this IEO. Okay, so here we go to the last part, which is the global partnership programs that we are currently ongoing. So we are looking for projects partner from all around the world to partner with us, and we are aiming to collaborate with over 50 crypto platforms. And our goal is actually to help out all the investors, as I mentioned earlier on, to reduce their losses and restoring their non-performing assets. Yep, so this is our contact details. And if I'm not wrong, there's a QR code over here. Yep, right. So you guys are able to scan it, follow our social medias, and join our community to find out more of Noah Swaps. Thank you very much again for being here with us. I hope you guys have good days. Thank you.
Okay, that was a very insightful keynote of Noah Swap. Thank you, Joey. Not only she has the looks, but she has proven that she also has the brains. So appreciate your keynote so much. Next up, we are going to talk a little bit about Web3 security. And I would like to invite this special guest to come and share a keynote of MetaTrust Labs. He is actually the co-founder of MetaTrust, and he will be sharing more details to you guys on what Web3 security is. And I think after all this panelist discussion on like how AI is going to revolutionize, how we are going to make sure that things are more secure, how as an exchange we are going to make things more safe for everyone to use, it's important that we learn a little bit more about security. So without further ado, please let me welcome Mr. Liu Yang, the co-founder of MetaTrust Labs.
Hi, good afternoon. It's a really great pleasure to be here today and share some of our recent work on this Web3 security. So my name is Liu Yang from this MetaTrust Labs. Okay, so what we are doing here is to look into security of Web3, but we don't want to build another security auditing company. The key things we want to do here is that how can we enable the builders, the developers, to have them, to help them with the security capabilities so that we don't need to wait for the last minute panic, or we just simply rely on everything on the security auditing company, right? So this is what we're doing. So, so myself, I'm the co-founder of this MetaTrust Labs. Same time, I'm also a professor in the Nanyang Technological University and wearing multiple hats and help Singapore to build a security ecosystem. I think that is less important, but what I really want to share with everyone here is about the importance about Web3 security. Because security is a very important thing, and this is the scary number we have. Till the starting of the crypto, till the August this year, the number of the money has been stolen in the Web3 is more than $30 billion. And this sounds scary, but to be frank, this may be a underestimated number because there are a lot of scams, a lot of cases which has not been publicly reviewed. So this is one the important things. And people are joking about this Web3 security is that they mentioned the most successful group of people who transferred from Web 2 to Web 3 is the hackers. And in the sense that this is true, but on the other hand, this is a little bit sad because we want to use the Web 3 to build another kind of platform to help us to do more exciting decentralized computation. But the reality is that security is the fundamental things which is not working for this crypto, right? And now let's look into the reason why we have this such kind of huge risk in the Web3. The reason is that the Web3 is a very new business, and the people are actually building and doing everything using these fundamental, the basic things, and they are not really start looking the security. So what we're doing is basically to leverage the security auditing company to help them to, in the last minute, to find the vulnerabilities. But the code is changing in a rapid manner. So you want to have your contract and your purchase updated, if not every day, at least once per week. But you cannot ask the security auditing company to audit your code once you have a new version, because it's too expensive and take too much time. So the key thing is how to have the automation to bridge the gap. So this is what we're doing. And if you're looking at this, the impact from the attacker perspective, so these are the things they are looking into, right? So you have this, all the digital assets, you have the wallet, and each of these digital asset and wallet, they have their own vulnerability challenge. And these are the things attackers are focusing on. So to address this, what we want to do is that how can we really understand the security space? And this slide really shows you the scary attack surface. We're trying to summarize all the possible attack surface for the Web3. It turned out to be very, very complicated because the Web3 is a new computation stack. Compared with the traditional computer, you have your CPU, your motherboard, your operating system, your application. But the Web3 is another different computation stack. You have the layer 1, layer 2 smart contract, and now we're talking about the applications on top of the smart contract. So for each of the layers, you have the corresponding new vulnerabilities you need to pay attention. And imagine a new developer come to the Web3 space and you are building a GameFi or DeFi. How can they understand all these kind of security vulnerabilities? Even to remember all the different kind of attacks is a tall order for them. So this is, I think, the reality why we are having such a big challenge in the Web3 in terms of security, because the attack surface is simply too big. And plus, you still need to deal with the traditional Web2 security challenge. You still have your offline computation, you have offline code written in C, Java, Python. So all these things add up together, it is not something easily doable for a normal software developer, right? So to really address these problems, what we are trying to do here is that to enable the developer, starting from the design to all the way to the coding, to the testing, deployment, and operation. We provide them with tools and services so that they are supported through the software development life cycle with the security kind of automation. And more importantly, we want to bring the intelligence to these tools so that they have this accurate result. So this is the things we are doing here. And in the end, we want to have this meta score, this tool, which is give you the ranking in terms of the white box analysis. We are looking inside your code to tell you, okay, how secure your token is, so that if you are a developer, you can just improve the security. If you are someone interested in investment, you can say, okay, whether this some token is worth investing. So this complete life cycle can help you to really, during the development process, to build the security. And these are the things we have summarized in terms of all the concrete different kind of vulnerabilities. So you know exactly what are the things you need to work on so that the vulnerability can be taken care of. And beyond this, this is one of the Metascan is one of our key solutions to automatically scan for the vulnerabilities. You can consider this as kind of the assistant, as a kind of security auditor sitting next to you. By automatic scanning, we can tell you what are the kind of the key problems in terms of the vulnerability category we showed in the previous slide so that you can quickly fix it. And the key thing for this Metascan is not just to have the automation. The most important part we have in the Metascan is the AI engine we built recently to leverage the AIGC component like the ChatGPT to bring the intelligence in terms of vulnerability detection. So that you can have a better way to find the vulnerabilities. And this AI engine is a very unique IP we have. And so that this give us the full automation compared with the security manual auditing. And also we take just a minute and have a wide range of coverabilities of different vulnerability types. And the price is really cheap compared with the manual services because of this automation. And also the important things, we have the guarantee. Because most of these token projects, when they look for security auditing, they are trying to ask for the multiple security companies because the auditor may not be reliable to give you consistent result. So rather they want to find 2 or 3 different auditing companies to make sure that you really have no problem. But here, because of all the intelligence and automation, we can give you the confirmed and accurate result. So this is the AI engine I just mentioned about, right? To use the ChatGPT to have the intelligence. What we are doing here is really to simulate the security auditor, how they are doing the security auditing task by basically looking at the code, understand the logic, and then identify the key variables and the key line of code which are related to the vulnerability so that we can then simulate and use the power of AIGC to find the vulnerability, which has same behavior as the security auditors. And the accuracy of this approach is really high compared with the traditional tools, which make this something useful. And this is the process of this finding vulnerability. Not only identify vulnerability, but what we can do is go beyond this to help you to further explain what are the vulnerabilities is about, where the vulnerability is, and even how to fix this vulnerability. So this gives you the complete support of the life cycle of the vulnerability detection and analysis. And we believe this is the way really to help the developer to improve the security of the smart contract, not just giving them the support. And beyond this scanning, we also have this runtime monitoring in using all different techniques and the data set to tell you what are the vulnerability potentially through the contract, through the transaction you have. Potentially you have a rug pull, you have a Ponzi game. So all these things can be monitored through our on-chain monitoring and our token checker. But we have something even more exciting is that we can detect ongoing attack and help you to stop and mitigate this attack. So this is something new capability really can provide real-time security support. So in this way that we can have a complete coverage with offline analysis plus online monitoring. And this is the Metascore I mentioned, right? The key thing is not just to give you show you the vulnerability, but we want to continuously monitor this vulnerability. And this continuous monitoring is reflected as a digital number, so you can easily see and you can compare. So that as the investor, if you want to select a particular token, you can come to our Metascore leaderboard and see whether the token had the corresponding security is worth investing, or it's just another kind of scam token you should avoid. And all these things can be reflected as a quantitative number in our leaderboard. Right? So this is the idea. And here, all these metrics we selected are not just something we collect from website. Actually, all of these are generated through our engine I mentioned previously. So that is why we call this white box security analysis, rather than just some kind of random data collected from the internet. Right? And with this, I think that is all I want to say. And the key thing is that I think this is a community effort. It's not just that we are providing the tools, but more importantly, I think I really call for the engagement and the support for the security, because it's a community effort really to bring a secure Web3 so that we have more opportunities and then the better ecosystem in the future. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Liu Yang. He actually came all over from another place and he was part of another panelist discussion. So he came over to just grace us his presence to give a keynote speech about Web3 security. So we actually have a special lineup today. It's a MOU signing with Coinstore and MetaTrust Labs to signify the importance of Web3 security. So it's actually the last segment of tonight, and yeah, basically everyone left lah. But it's okay. Networking session will happen afterwards. So without further ado, I would just like to invite Mr. Liu Yang and Mr. James to end off our session for today. Thank you. Thank you so much to James and Mr. Liu Yang to signify this importance of our MOU partnership with Coinstore and MetaTrust. Round of applause, please. Thank you. Okay. We've now come to the end of Coinstore's first ever brand launch 2023. I'd just like to take this special opportunity to thank everyone who stayed around. And not only that, I would also like to thank the whole Coinstore team for making this happen. From our marketing team, our business development team, all of the team in Coinstore, thank you so much for making this happen, and also all the esteemed partners as well as the participants that came by. So let's end this session and let's proceed for the networking activity, shall we? Also, let's have some photo taking sessions outside. Please make full use of the backdrop. And yeah, thank you everyone.